property and you are looking to rehab that property and it's extensive in the rehab work, you want to make sure that you have good quality workers assisting you. It's important. You want to make sure that you have good quality workers assisting you in that process. And so with the 203K, they have specific requirements for bidding out the contractors, and then it has to be submitted to the bank. And so if you get started and do not like the contractor, for instance, you are pretty much stuck with them for the remainder of the rehab process. So that's why it's important to make sure that you're doing your due diligence and that you are getting a good contractor that you've seen examples of the quality of work that this contractor has done, and you've got at least 3 references that can vouch for this contractor. I'm going to just repeat that again. With a 203K, once you have made your final decision on your contractor and they've been given, the information has been given to the bank that you're working with, you're pretty much stuck. So you want to make sure that you have the right contractor that you want in order to complete this work. And once you get everything set in stone, it is very difficult to undo the process. So I can't stress enough how important that aspect of it is, because you get a good contractor out there that's doing your work, then you can feel comfortable that in knowing that your work is being completed correctly and that this person is reputable, they're licensed, they are bonded, they're insured, and it just gives you some peace of mind that you wouldn't otherwise be able to have if you don't do the proper homework in order to hire your contractor. And so there can sometimes be confusion with the listing agent. So it is important. We talked about this last week. We've talked about it and in prior weeks as well, how important it is to make sure that you are securing a good, qualified, experienced realtor. The contractor is important. The realtor is equally as important, because one of the big problems that we sometimes experience in many cases with listing agents is that they do not fully understand how the 203K program works. And therefore, it may be difficult for them to get an offer accepted. And if you can't get an offer accepted, then you can't make any money. And so this is a major turnoff for those interested in the 203Ks, because it is a good program. It can be a great program to assist you in what you're trying to attain in purchasing property, but you have to understand how it works, and the realtor that you're working with also has to understand how it works. Another area for us to look into is in competition, because in many areas there's a great deal of competition for foreclosed properties and bank-owned properties. Those can sometimes be great deals for you to be able to attain. And remember, we talked about a little bit last week as well that not all realtors are able to work on foreclosed properties or work with bank-owned properties. The REOs, you have to have a special designation as a realtor in order to be able to offer those properties, list those properties, show those properties. And so that's something else that you need to look at when you're looking at realtors. You want to make sure that they have that relationship, that they can access REO properties, bank-owned foreclosed properties, and even tax sales, so that you have access to those properties when you're looking to purchase your investment properties, because the competition out there can be fierce for foreclosed and bank-owned properties. And dealing with this program will usually involve several bids from different investors. You look at a property, for instance, there's a property that I looked at not too long ago. It was a great location, a great price, and it was, I was ready to make that offer, and you put your offer in, but if someone else beats you to it, then all you can do is put in a backup offer, which you then fall at the bottom of the list, So it's important for you to try and jump on this. That's just an example of how the competition can be fierce when you're looking at foreclosed properties or investment properties. And so it can negate the process for some profit potential, because at the end of the day, you're trying to make sure that you are looking at the bottom line and your profit margin. Remember, we talked about it just a little bit on last week, and we talked about doing an analysis and making sure that there were comparables in the area that showed the value of the properties in that specific location that you're looking at, including the property that you're purchasing, so that you would make sure that you're actually purchasing it for the right amount of money, and to make sure that the right amount of work it can be estimated. Remember, it's the after repair value, the ARV. Remember, we talked about that and we went over the formula for it as well. So in order to get to that point, first you have to do your homework, and you will have to do your analysis. How many bedrooms, does it have a fireplace, 2-car garage, basement, is the basement finished? And then you have to look at comparables usually within a mile, that are similar to that property, to tell you what properties are going for in that area that don't necessarily need to be repaired. That way, if you're getting it well below value, you know that you're going to be able to make a profit because you're acquiring it for an amount less than market value. And then you have to add on how much it's going to cost you to do the rehab work. Is it going to cost you $20,000, $25,000, $50,000, $75,000, $100,000? How much is it going to cost you in order to make those rehab construction duties, and to take care of everything, and to make sure that the contractor has accurate information? You know exactly what the contractor is going to be working on. You know what needs to be done on that property. The flooring is messed up, and you're going to have to do new flooring. What type of flooring are you going to do? Are you going to do ceramic tile? Are you going to do hardwood flooring? Are you going to do laminate flooring? All of this is important to look at when you are looking at the 203K. And so these are things that we definitely have to take in consideration when we're looking at it. And so there's also another product that's called Streamline 203K. It's the Streamline 203K, and it's figured into the original loan balance, resulting in one fixed rate mortgage loan. And so we'll talk a little bit about that process as well, because it's so important for us to understand the alternative financing that's available for investment properties, and when we're looking to do rehab work. And so we're going to take a commercial in just a little bit, but and then we're going to go over the alternatives and go over everything that's available, some other options, financing options that are available to us as we go out there and we're rehabbing properties, and we're looking to make sure that we are well informed by picking the right contractor and doing our due diligence, that we are picking the right realtor who has access to bank foreclosures, REO properties, and to make sure that we're just doing our homework. We want to make sure when it comes to the money that you're investing in these properties, you want to make sure that you are well informed. And that's the purpose of Money Matters with Jackie Dussard-Sanders. We want to make sure that you stay informed. And so remember, you're listening to Money Matters with Jackie Sanders on Smooth 90.5 FM HB. If you haven't already done so, call all of your friends and family and let them know that they need to tune in to us so that they can get all this great information as they look to diversify and leverage the investments for their retirement planning. And so we'll be back in just a moment. And you just make sure that you stay tuned. Go get your cup of tea or some coffee or a glass of water and come right back. We'll be back in just a moment. leverage our retirement planning. And before we went on break, we talked a little bit about the 203K program to help us in rehabbing properties. And we've just had two guests to join us here in the studio, and they're going to help us to explore the various financing alternatives that are available to us. So please help me welcome Winston Drain and April Shakoor.
Hello. Hello, it's very nice to meet you.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Great. And they work together to assist homebuyers and investors to secure the financing needed to purchase real estate property. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, and then I'm going to have them to add in and express themselves and tell you a little bit more about their backgrounds and so forth. Now, Winston Drain is an entrepreneur investor who owns and manages residential multi-unit properties in the Chicagoland area. He manages the shopping center at Heritage Plaza in Country Club Hills, Illinois. Mr. Drain also consults other property investors, rehabbers, and developers in finding ways to expand their real estate portfolio. He finds ways to provide hard money lending, credit restoration, along with his business partner, and helps investors set up necessary corporate structures to protect their assets. Mr. Drain is a graduate of Chicago State University, and his office is located in Country Club Hills, Illinois. Now, April Shakoor is a mortgage loan originator and branch manager who specializes in conventional, FHA, non-conforming, and hard money products. She offers loan products nationwide, but specializes in the Midwestern market. For almost 16 years, she has been working with clients, realtors, and developers nationwide. Welcome, April. Welcome, Winston. And I'm just going to have you two express a little bit more about yourself. And we'll start with April.
Hi, yes, thank you very much, Jackie, for introducing us, and thank you for having us on your show today. As you said, I have been in this market for about 16 years. I specialize in both conforming, non-conforming, and hard money products. Mainly, the thing you need to know most about me is that I work very closely with my customers to make sure that they understand the full process of everything that they're acquiring from beginning to end, whether it's a regular loan for their first-time home mortgage, refinancing a product, or trying to get into investment lending. Basically, the processes are pretty much similar depending on what type of loan you're looking for, and it's a very easy, streamlined process, and we work through it 100%. I graduated from DePaul University with a communications degree, and I like to talk. So
me too.
My customers will always have my ear and my dedication to doing their products.
Wonderful. Now, I want Winston to tell a little bit about himself now, and then we'll join the conversation.
Good morning. I'm just glad to be able to be here. Thank you, Jackie, for inviting me to come out. Since you and April are good communicators, I'm going to let y'all just go on to communicate. I would just like to make sure
we don't want to leave you out, Winston.
I'm a little bashful this morning. I apologize for that. But I just want to just say to your listening audience out there, today is a fine time and a great time to invest. If you're interested in having wealth for yourself and for leaving a legacy for your kids, now is the time to be able to make that investment, because there's a lot of properties that's out there that's going to generate income. Jackie, I came from out of the era when the mortgage industry was back in 2008, 2009, when the market took a big hit.
Yes.
But now that whole thing is being revitalized all over again. So now is a great time to be able to build yourself some wealth for yourself as well as for family and friends as well.
Awesome. I'm glad that you mentioned that, Winston, because I was in the mortgage industry myself. I was a mortgage broker. And so I've seen so many changes. I also have a vast banking background, so I've seen changes in the industry from one end of the spectrum to the other end of the spectrum. And when the industry crashed back in 2008, a lot of people would ask me, they came to me and they said to me, well, Jackie, what do you think is going to happen with the industry? Do you think it's going to bounce back in the next 6 months, a year, 2 years? What do you think? And I told them, I said, I think it's going to take a good 10 to 20 years for it to get back where it needs to be. And they thought I was crazy at that time. They said, really? That long? Here we are in 2016. And I was pretty much right. I was on point. And so, with that being said, I want to ask a question, probably to both of you. With the industry being a lot different today than it was 10 to 15 years ago, how would you describe the current market? We'll start with you, April.
Okay. Currently, the market is increasing. Right now, you're going to see values are going to start being on the rise for your appraised values. So back when the market crashed, you found a lot of people that were upside down on their mortgages. They were trying to buy properties that weren't worth what the people who were trying to sell them still owed on their property. So that's why investing back then was a little bit harder to do. Now that the industry has come back full circle, you're starting to see those appraised values come up. And now we're able to have investors come out and actually utilize the after repair values, the values of those properties after those properties are fully rehabbed, and utilize that equity for their future and their investments. So now you're seeing things, where you can buy properties at a very low rate, put a little bit of money into them, and actually utilize that equity on the back end and make some really good money at it.
Awesome. And the purpose, and Winston, you mentioned a little bit about making sure that you take advantage of the opportunity so that you can make a profit and make money. What people need to realize is that in order to prepare for retirement planning, you need more than a 401k. You need more than a pension plan. You need to diversify. And so the whole purpose of having this segment where we are talking about using real estate to leverage your financial planning is so that they can add funds to make sure they have the quality of life that they've been accustomed to, the quality of life that they would like to have when they're no longer able to work in the same aspect as they're able to work today. And so what is your take on that and with the industry and being a lot different today? Winston, can you add to that for us?
Jack, I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things that's out there now, you have hard money lenders. And a lot of people are not familiar with the terms of hard money. And a lot of people are deterred from investing in hard and seeking finance for hard money. But hard money is a quick, fast way for individuals to be able to acquire some money to purchase the property, rehab the property, and to be able to determine how long. The key thing about hard money is a couple of things. One is that your terms, how long you want to be in it, how long it's going to take for you to fix it up. 9 months, 12 months, 18 months, or 2 years. So you have to take that, calculate that into how long you want to be able to utilize the money. The other factor is that having some form of reserves. Okay, and your reserves is basically, it can be your savings account, it can be a CD, it can be your 401k plan. Utilize those assets that you can be able to have for it on the end there. Then the next key thing that I find to be is to be able to have an LLC. Because the key thing here is that back in the day, we used to have, you can use conventional loan, and you can go non-investor. But now, to commercial loans require that you have an LLC. You must have an LLC. Yeah. That's one of the key things that you must have on that end there. And maybe April can maybe share some other factors that maybe can vital.
Yes, because that's something that we mentioned a little bit a couple weeks ago. We did talk about the LLCs and how to put them together and the importance of it. So I'm so glad you brought that up to reiterate some of the things that we've been talking about. And so, April, can you tell us a little bit about the terms and what's required, in order to qualify for hard money lending? What's entailed in the requirements? What would the average person or the average investors looking to purchase investment property need to put in place in order to qualify?
Absolutely. There's different types of hard money loans that are available to people. There's hundreds of different programs available, and depending on exactly the structure of your particular loan, it would depend on exactly what you need. Now, some hard money lenders are more asset-based. They want to know that that property has equity in it. So they will help you invest in that property without really having to worry about having really great credit scores to do so. As long as you have some assets in the bank and you have the ability to do a down payment and closing costs, they will allow you to utilize, again, like I was saying before, the equity in that property, the end equity in that property to purchase that property. So, for example, if you buy a property, if you see a property for sale for $50,000, and you have to put $20,000 in that property to make it worth $200,000, which is the going comparable rate in the area. The actual hard money lender will look at that $200,000 and base their loan off of that $200,000 to assist you in getting into that property at the low purchase price and the rehab value. They'll give you the money for the rehab so that you can actually get that property up to par and be able to utilize the full $200,000. Now, we do have other products that are available. Some are going to be more geared toward having better credit, depending on the type of program that you want. But generally, what you're going to be looking at for hard money is anywhere from 35 to 10% down. So 10% to 35% down, depending on the program. A lot of times people, have better credit and they're able to invest in properties where they can only do 10% down. But again, there's different things that you can do to help get you into that property with hard money and without having to really worry about having the best credit to do so. But the positive thing that we have going for us is we also have our other piece with my business partner, Mr. Drain, who also has the ability to assist people who are looking to get some of those better options, those better rates, and looking to go into get into a better credit score. So they have a program, we have a program that will help people actually get better credit scores so they're able to diversify their portfolio a lot more with better loan options. So basically, depending on what kind of program you're looking for, it will depend on what kind of program we will put you into.
Okay, now I want to back up just a little bit because you said that the main thing about the hard money lending is the assets, and I think Mr. Drain also mentioned that is making sure that you have what amount for the assets? Well,
depending on the loan. Most hard money lenders like that term, that 65% range. They like to say, I'll give you 65% of the after repair value. That's one number that they like to use a lot. But a lot of times, depending on the program, depending on the whole package, we can probably get you a little bit better of an option. Some hard money lenders do not require that high of a down payment. Some will let you do 10% down, some will let you do 25% down, 20%, just depending on the actual program. Mm-hmm. Now, when I say assets, I don't mean just the down payment, the money that you have for down payment and closing costs. When I say that most hard money lenders are asset-based, I'm talking about the actual real estate product itself. So when I say asset-based, they are basically looking for that product to have an after-repair value, a value that after repair is going to give it a nice jump in value. Mm-hmm. You're buying this at a very small price. You're putting some money into it to rehab it to full quality, and then you actually have a good value on the back end to help bring in that extra equity. So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for asset-based properties, and that basically means the real estate itself.
Gotcha. So, for instance, we were talking on last week, we talked about doing the analysis and putting the numbers together when you're looking for the property to make sure you got a good realtor that can help find you good properties. And so that's one of the things that we were talking about is to making sure you do your homework and when you're putting the data together to make sure that you look at comparables and so forth in the area. We talked about using Zillow initially if you've got an appraiser that you work with to help you get comparables in the area so that it's accurate. And so that's important. Along with the fact that you said it can be 10 to 25% for the hard money lending. And then it's based on the real estate value. Now, something else you mentioned was credit. And credit is so important to make sure that the credit is up to par. But if the credit is not up to par, that's still not a deterrent. Because if they can acquire property that has a good profit margin and will be able to, to meet within the criteria for that hard money lending, they can possibly start there and then build their credit up by using a credit program to build that credit up and then getting to the place where they can move out of that hard money lending to conventional lending. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Basically, hard money loans are going to be basically about 12-month terms. So whatever product they give you, they're looking for you to actually have that product done, rehabbed, and either you're going to sell it or you're going to turn it into a 30-year fixed loan as a rental. So they are looking for you to come out of that loan in that time frame. So when you start this process, if you start out with not having very good credit scores, and we get you into a product that basically has a lot of equity in it, it's a win-win situation for the bank to help you, it's a win-win situation for you to take this property. We're looking for you for the long term, for the down the line. Down the line in 12 months, what are we going to have as far as our product is concerned, our loan is concerned? If at the very beginning we'll put you in a product that is not credit score driven, your rates are going to be just a little bit higher, your LTV, meaning your loan to value, how much you're going to be able to get out of that property to start, is going to be a little bit lower. Still very workable loans for you, but the goal is to get you into a better product later. So either you're going to be taking this product to fix and flip it, you're basically going to rehab it and just sell it right away and pull out that equity right away, or you're going to turn this into a better loan product for yourself so that when you do put a renter in there, you're able to maximize the amount of money that you're getting out every month. So that's where the credit repair program comes in place. If you have people who have 400, 500, 600 credit scores that don't necessarily meet the criteria to get the really great rates and the really great loan options, we want to put you into a situation where in 12 months, when it's time to turn that term around, you are able to do that.
Excellent. So basically what you're saying, okay, we have a caller, we have a listener that has a question from New York, and his question is about hardship funds. I'm not really sure what he means. I'm assuming perhaps, and Derek, perhaps you can give us a little clarity. If you're having hardship on an existing property, and how to get funds to get out of it, for instance, I'm assuming that's what you're referring to. And if that's the case, there are programs out there. There is and you can check with your state. There is a program that's out there. Perhaps you guys are familiar with it. I know in Illinois they're just starting it up again, and that's the hardship program, where they will give you money to help pay your mortgage for up to 18 months. They did it a few years back, and when they did that program, the hardship program, they gave you money for up to 12 months, I believe, 6 months to 12 months, and with that, they help you to pay your mortgage until you're able to get back on your feet, to help you to avoid foreclosure. And so, depending on the state that you're in, you need to check to see it's based on a federal program to see if your state's offering it. And I know here in Illinois, that program is getting ready to start up again, but if you took advantage of it during the first wave, you're not allowed to take advantage of it during the second time around. So hopefully that's some helpful information for you, Derek. Thank you so much for checking in with us here on Money Matters with Jackie Dussard Sanders. And again, you're listening to us on Smooth and 90.5 FM HD. And our guest today is Winston Drain and April Shakoor. They're giving us some very, very good information on financing. And if I hear you correctly, April, and Winston, you can chime in as well, you get people started to build on increasing their wealth, even if their credit score is low. And so they can work on that with a hard money loan, and then build up, work with you as well to get their credit up to par within that 12-month frame, so that they can transfer over to a conventional product where they can either flip that property and take the equity out and make a great profit on that property, or they can maintain it as a rental and benefit from passive income. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Depending on what the overall goal is for the individual investor, some investors really like just sticking with one product, the fix and flip. They like being able to get in there, fix it up fast, and sell it, and get their equity out right away. They don't want to hold on to any properties to add to a portfolio. Then you have the other people who are looking for their long-term disposable income. They are looking for funds to keep coming in month after month, year after year, to help them with their actual overall retirement plan. There are several people who are out there buying properties at very low rates. They're putting a little bit of money into it, and they're able to maximize the amount of money they're making every month. A good example is, buying a property at $20,000 that only needs $10,000 worth of work. You turn around and you rent that out for $1,500 a month. In a year, you've almost paid off what you've almost made back what you've paid for that property. So after that, all the funds that you make every month is pure money. It's pure investment money for you. So some people like that residual income. They like that money coming in every month. Some people like the quick payoff. So depending on what your overall goals are, would depend on what kind of product we would put you into.
And some people like the combination.
I was going to say that. Yes, some people like the combination. Some people will get into a property thinking they're just going to fix it and flip it and be done with it, but then they find that it's a good rental property. You have the ability, when we turn this product over, to turn it into something different than what you originally planned for. You may have 10 properties that you're working at, and you want to keep 3 of them as rentals and sell the other 5, or vice versa.
Now, one of the things that the hard money lender would ask, one of the questions is, what's your exit strategy? And that's basically what April was alluring to on the end there. You have to know what your exit strategy is. Is you going to keep it, or you're going to flip it? And you have to be able to have going in, knowing to let that lender know what you're going to be able to do. Another key feature too is when you're doing hard money, you also want to make sure not only just the LLC, you should be working with a very certified, qualified rehabber, contractor, because that is going to be key. Because your contractor is going to want to be able to spell out in terms about for the scope of work. If what type of work has to be done, how many lights you have to do, how many windows you're going to have to be put in, because all of that is factored in terms about for is your cost for repair.
Gotcha. And so that's something to think about, what you plan on doing. And I like the fact that you work with the customer, not just to get them in and out, but you work with them long term to help them achieve their goals. And so what type of income requirement is needed for this type of program?
Well, as you know, in the past, they did have stated products available for conventional and conventional loans. So you did have a stated product for non-conforming.
Yes.
Now they don't have that anymore. They kind of changed the market after 2008. Everybody has to show their income. Their income, make sure their debt-to-income ratios actually are below a certain percentage. Hard money doesn't really take that into consideration. They're more concerned, like I said, about the asset. They know that you may be buying 10 properties and your income right now may not be able to support that. So they don't usually ask for anything more as far as your debt ratios are concerned. They will ask you for some things just to confirm that you are who you say you are and you don't have back taxes, for example. But basically, they don't really look at your income as a deciding factor. They're looking more at that asset and see how that asset is going to benefit you as well as it benefit them.
Got you. And so do you lend only in Illinois? Because we just had a listener from New York. Or do you lend throughout the United States?
The good thing about us is we are able to lend nationwide. Okay. We are able to offer products to anyone nationwide, depending on exactly what they're looking for. So that's going to be a big help. What we do offer here in Illinois is the ability to assist them with their overall goals. So, for example, like Winston was saying, you need a scope of work. They always want to know not just what your exit strategy is, but also what are you using the funds for. You're asking for $50,000 for the purchase price and $30,000 for the rehab. What are you spending $30,000 on? You have to have someone who's qualified that's going to walk through that property with you and tell you this is what you have to do and this is how much it's going to cost. And when we present that to our lenders, we need to let them know this is what we're going to do to the property, and that's why the after repair value is going to be what it is. So we need to make sure that we're giving them the full picture from the beginning, and then we basically walk them through and making sure everything is getting rehabbed correctly so that we can utilize that value.
Wonderful. So just to wrap it up, basically, if you're looking to buy investment property and your credit aren't up to par necessarily, that does not have to be a deterrent. They can acquire property through hard money lending, hold on to it for that 12-month time period, and within that 12-month time period, work on improving the credit score so that they can do other things. They need to make sure that they have good asset allocation in the property, making sure that, again, they've got a good realtor and a good contractor to work with, that they've got a good grasp on the scope of work, and a good idea of their exit strategy. Am I correct? Did I get it all in a nutshell?
Last point, too, just as part of the wrap up, you want to make sure if you are investing, you have multiple properties, you may want to have a property manager as well.
Oh, that was one of my questions, so I'm glad that you brought it up. So you do suggest that investors hire a property management company to handle all of their investment properties.
Absolutely, because one of the things that lender will ask, how much experience do you have as an investor for as managing properties? So if you have little experience, but then again, you buy multiple properties, you may want to let them know that you will be having a property manager to be able to oversee the project.
And that could also help you in getting it approved.
That's a plus.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's been fabulous. All this great information. I just want to keep on going. I've got to have you guys to come back again. So that you can share some of that great information, because we've been talking about using real estate to leverage our retirement planning, but we need to have the knowledge of what's needed. And so we'd love to have you back. I'll let you know when we can do that again.
Okay.
And for our listening audience, I hope you've gained a lot of information today. Make sure you continue to tell your friends and family to tune into Money Matters with Jackie Dussard Sanders on Smooth 90.5 FM HD. Have a great weekend, and we just enjoyed having you.
Thank you,
Keep
Jackie.
coming back, guys.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.